I don't want nothing, and it looks like that's what I'm gonna get. Sometimes I feel I need something. Taking my time and to help me forget about everything. Too much things running around in my brain, so come on, sweet death. Won't you help to ease my pain? Oh, love me, baby.
Hey everyone, welcome back to The Lookout. It's been a couple days, had to catch up on a lot of other stuff that got dropped during the Bidwell Park fire. But got a quick update for you guys, not a real long video this morning, but got to go up in Bidwell Park and take a look at the fire effects. And so we're going to show a little video from that. I got some great user contributed video of some of the action when the park fire was really running hard over by Highway 36. Going to play that. And we're going to take a look at the Boise fire, which is kind of wrapping up. And we're going to look at the Coffee Pot fire down on the Kings National Park. Working right now on getting access to the park fire perimeter. Hoping to go out with CAL FIRE and have a look at some of the fire effects, but they're still pretty busy out there with cleaning up and patrolling and everything. So we'll see what we can get. But basically, working on a longer form video about the park fire and trying to get out to as many places on it as I can. And that's going to be kind of one of the things I'm working on in the next week or so. So not going to be live streaming as much just because the video editing stuff takes time. But if anything new pops that requires us to jump in and do a live stream, we'll do it for sure. But just want to give you guys an update on what we got going on. So let's see. I'm going to just kind of do the quick intro. This is The Lookout. And if it's the first time that you're joining us, we do kind of live streams and also features on our website about fire, wildfire, how they behave, why we fight them the way we do, talk about prescribed fire, fire science, and wildland fire culture. Today's episode is brought to you by QTAC, based here in Chico, California. QTAC makes really nice fire equipment. We use their stuff a lot with on the prescribed burns we do. They've got everything from a small unit like this that can go in a UTV to full-size fire trucks and kind of everything in between. But we appreciate their sponsorship. They make really nice stuff. I want to start off with a video that I got sent from a guy that was on the park fire. I think this is as the fire's bumping Highway 36, maybe on day 3. But fire was not held at Highway 36, and when you see video like this, it helps you understand why firefighters couldn't stop the fire. You know, these trees are torching, they're throwing embers over the road. It's 105 degrees, it's windy, and so we encourage our viewers to send us their videos. We know we don't encourage people to be stuck on their phone necessarily when they're on the fire line, and we don't want to encourage people to break social media policies. But if you do have something that's good educational video that you're able to capture safely and while staying out of trouble on your fire assignment, we'd like to use it, and we're happy to give attribution. And if not, if you don't want attribution, we're also happy to keep stuff anonymous. So I want to talk a little bit about our outlook here. Let's jump over to the Boise fire. Boise was burning here by Orleans in northwestern California. And just to give a quick kind of area context, here's Mount Shasta, here's Crescent City, and so Orleans is kind of in the middle of nowhere between Eureka and Yreka. And interesting thing about Boise is that it's been burning with kind of contained by other recent fires, and so it wasn't super hard for them to fight it on the edges of this 2020 and 2023 fire scars. And then the fires kind of made a run out to the east early on in the fire. So we just wanted to kind of turn on today's IR and show you that the only new spread on this fire to the west is where they're letting it back down to a road here that's been prepped. And it's also back down to this other main road that they've been prepping kind of for the last week. So everything looks really good on this fire. It's kind of continued to burn out on the interior, and then they fired the ridge here by Orleans Mountain a couple days ago. And that's slowly filling in, and really no new spread showing on this fire out. Very little spread out on the east side of the fire. One of the reasons that it's not spreading much is because max temp is like pretty warm, but the max RH at night has been like 60 to 80, which is really damp. And so at night, fires are barely burning out there, and it's getting down in the 50s at night. So when you see like the 2-day spread here on the firing operation, they lit all this 2 days ago, and it's barely burned beyond, like, they lit it and they shot some shooters down the hill, probably like, fireworks to try to get some depth on that, and then the fire's just kind of like spread like 100 feet down the hill in 2 days. Over here, it's spread well, and maybe with some encouragement, and also in brush. So you see that sometimes in this country, in the middle of August, when it's supposed to be hot and dry, at night, sometimes these fires won't barely even burn. So just interesting. I think it's always nice for us to look at this weather information and get an idea of what's that tell us about prescribed burning. With prescribed burning, we often, our conditions get kind of hemmed into a conservative window based on what we think will happen. And so it's nice to kind of observe actual fire behavior against what the conditions are out there. So here on Boise, you can see that's the prepped road we talked about, and the fire backing down to it, and the fire's backing down out here. You can see their firing operations. I think this map's a couple days old, and since then they've finished this hand line out here over to Nordheimer Flat. But basically, they're not doing anything as far as direct firefighting. They might be using helicopters on us, I'm not sure. But they don't have people right out on the margin of the fire. All right, so I want to look at another fire real quick called the Coffee Pot. Coffee Pot. This is burning in Kings Canyon, Sequoia. It's been burning for probably 10 days. It started off up on the top here of the hill, and it's been slowly backing down. It's got the 2020 Castle Fire and the 2021 KMP Complex fires, kind of giving it a little bit of a catcher's mitt. It's pretty rugged country, but it's you can see from the spread map, white line is 24-hour spread. So there's kind of some rollout where the fire is kind of like burning materials rolled down a hill and start a fire. It will burn back into the main fire. Sometimes on a fire like this, it's hard to tell what's natural fire spread and what's the result of maybe firing being done. But it's interesting to see the spread on this that's not connected to the fire itself, that it's rolling out. So this is real typical for lightning fires. Is just that they start on top of the slope, and then they get all sparkly, and they slowly roll down. They back their way down the mountain, and we get kind of moderate fire severity a lot of time as the fire's backing. Unlike a lot of human-caused fires, humans are more often operating at the bottom of the hill, and they start a fire and it runs up to the top of the hill, and you get this really kind of destructive head fire. One of the issues down here in the Southern Sierra is just that there's a huge amount of beetle kill in these forests that's unfolded over really like the past 15 years. And so the fuel loading can be really extreme in some of these areas where trees have died and fallen over. Oftentimes when the trees are still standing like this, it doesn't affect the fire behavior as much as we might think when we have a backing fire, because all this fuel is still up in the canopy, and if the fire is just kind of backing down the hill, it doesn't really have access to that. So it can be surprising. We can get surprisingly mild fire effects in areas that have heavy mortality, just because it takes a long time for all that fuel to fall over. Like you'll see down in here, there's stuff on the ground here that's trees that died and fell over 20 or 30 or 50 years ago. And this low severity backing fire that you would get of a lightning fire backing off the ridge can clean up a lot of that stuff without necessarily causing a crown fire and all these other dead trees. Now, if we get a crown fire from the bottom of the hill up through this, it'd be a different story. But once all these red pine needles fall off these standing dead trees, the fuel loading actually is in the canopy is less, because you don't have, like, the branches don't have pine needles for the fires to burn through. So kind of post-mortality or post-fire or post-beetle kill, fuel loading and fire behavior is kind of something we don't understand really well. We've looked at a lot of these landscapes with all these dying trees and thought that we were going to have these kind of nuclear bomb fire effects. In some places we have, like the Creek fire. But in other places we'll get a lightning fire like this one, and it'll kind of back down the mountain, and it'll kind of surprise us. Last week we talked about, if you haven't seen our video yet from last week, we talked about the fire severity of the fire. We talked about how different intensities in the various parts of the fire are going to affect kind of potential runoff and stuff like that. So I just want to show a video. Went out and did a quick little outing, and it's going to narrate kind of what we saw. So this is Sunday. Got to go out with my kids and shoot some video.
Some B-roll, heavy.
B-roll, Leo.
B-roll. Get lucky you can hear my kids arguing. So this is the riparian area of Chico Creek in Bidwell Park, and you can see there's a huge amount of fuel loading kind of down by the creek. And so luckily in Lower Park, what happened with this fire is the fire basically stayed out of the riparian corridor, and it stayed mainly in the grasslands that have really pretty light fuel loading, just grass and some star thistle and some shrubs. And we didn't have a lot of fire in this really heavy riparian corridor. This is pretty much right where the fire started, and it ran through kind of like gray pine and live oak and blue oak. And the park's open again for the most part. And you can see in here that a lot of the blue oak, which are the main tree in this low grassland, still have some canopy on them. So all these big blue oak are going to survive this fire. You can see they sprout back from the crowns. So you can see that the crowns are green, but then also where they're brown, they sprout back. So almost all the blue oak that are out there that we saw have a portion of the crown that's still alive, and they're not going to die. These trees have been through a lot of fires. This whole area burned in 2021 in the park fire. And within the fire, you've got like these little, what we call refugia. Like this is burned all the way around, but like through some firefighting or some luck, like this little spot within the burn didn't burn at all. And then this is kind of looking up towards the canyon rim of where initially the fire was stopped here with retardant, then it kind of hooked back around. But I just want to show how there's like these little what we call refugia, like little areas that didn't burn. And there's a lot of kind of concern people have about wildlife and them being killed by the fire, and that the fire is kind of monolithic and that there's nowhere for them to go and that they all get fried. And a lot of these fires move so fast in the grass that a little finger of fire will run here and it'll be black, and then the animals, like if the animals can get into black areas, and so it's not like this just huge wall of flame necessarily that goes through and just like cooks everything. There's often spots that cool off real quickly because it's just grass or even short grazed grass, or in Bidwell Park there's a lot of places that are just bare rock and barely have any grass at all. But like I said, this whole area burned 3 years ago, and these trees survived, and there wasn't a lot of fuel out here. So it's kind of moon rocks out here in some of this place. It's interesting to see the park just without any cover. This is kind of across from where the fire started. This is a big field of star thistle. That was some of the heavier fuel loading you'd have out there. There's places in the park with heavy star thistle that are slated for burning, And so sometimes the wildfire burns that for you. And so the fire effects here in this like grassland that's dominated by star thistle are likely beneficial in that it's a management objective in the park to burn a lot of star thistle anyway. And burning it this time of year is it's hard to get done, but it's one of the better times to burn star thistle to kill all the seed. So this whole area here that burned at star thistle is actually a benefit in the park. All this flat had a lot of star thistle on it before the burn. And then the creek is kind of untouched, so it's kind of hopeful to be out there, you know, in the burn, and then you go like just go on the other side of like the Yahi Trail, and the creek's flowing and people are swimming, and the riparian is the same as it ever was. I'm going to go up today to, where's my, Below Forest Ranch. I'm going up with folks from the Natural Resources Conservation Service, and we're going to go up here in Chico Creek Canyon, and we're going to look at the fire effects, and I'm going to shoot some video. So like I said, I'm just trying to gather a bunch of video right now from all over the fire, and then we're going to put together a video, a longer presentation, that we're going to look at the entire fire. And so just working on access and figuring out how that's going to work, but we're going to pretty much go all the way around the fire. We're going to look at the different fire effects, talk about when it burned, and kind of just do a park fire wrap up. Brandon Bean says, you notice the green crowns in the blue oak is lighter green than the blue oak that's untouched. I noticed that too. I think that part of that is the trees just flush. Like, I think you're talking about that these the crowns in these trees that got affected is brighter green than the ones that didn't get burned, and it seemed like that to me too. And so we'll be talking more about this. We've done some videos in the past about how blue oaks survive fires, but they've got thick bark and they just sprout back from the crown. Like some oaks sprout back from the base, and you get a whole bunch of new shoots that the deer like to eat. Blue oak sprouts back from the crown itself. All right, so that's it for this morning. Like I said, we're working on some longer form projects right now, so we won't be live streaming quite as much unless there's something that demands kind of timeliness. So thanks everyone, and I want to encourage you to check out the Lookout website. We've got features on here about what's going on with like fires like the Boise. We've got some of our past videos that we've been doing, the educational videos about fire effects, and all kinds of stuff on this website. So you can check out the categories here on the side. If you're interested in bulldozers and firefighting, we tag posts that relate to bulldozer use and fire tactics. If you're interested in prescribed fire, all these posts talk something about prescribed burning. This one's a good one, Indigenous Fire Futures. We talked to some folks that did a paper about giving Native Americans more control over fire management. Kind of a radical idea, but these guys, they sketched out a really interesting article, and highly recommend checking out this. It'll kind of open your mind to a different perspective on land management. Got some other stuff on here. Talking with folks. This guy works for me, and he evacuated from the campfire through the flames when he was 18 years old. Now he's a fire scientist working for us, putting his computer skills to use on understanding fire behavior. Claire Monahan, same interesting local story about a young person who's finding a way forward with a career in prescribed burning. So lots of good stuff on there. We want you to check it out. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you all soon. Bye.